Thank you. Raise your hands if you come to Toastmaster and you join Toastmaster to become a better leader. Someone wants to progress in leadership. Okay, keep your hands up for a second. Just take a quick look around the room. How many people have the same objective as you? Thank you. Raise your hands if you come here, if you join Toastmaster to become a better speaker, you know. You see someone on stage and you're like, yeah, I want to do that. Right? Keep your hands up for 1 second. Take a quick look around the room. And finally, thank you. And finally, raise your hand if you come to Toastmaster to socialize, you know, to make friends, get to know people, and possibly get to drink, right? So just have a quick look around. Linda, saw your hand there. I'll be seeing you guys at the bar later. Thank you. So what we've established so far is we have 3 types of people in the room, 3 groups. We have people who come here to be leaders, and we have other group that wants to be really good speakers. And then we have the final group who just wants to socialize and get drunk. Is it fair to say that if I was to combine a leader from this side of the room and buddy you up with someone from this side of the room, that together those 2 members could strategize and come up with a better plan on how they want to become better leaders? Is that fair to say? Right? And the same goes for two people who want to be better speakers, right? If I was to take a new guest and buddy you up with another person who wants to be a better speaker, together you could grow faster and better. That's what we're here to talk about today, mentoring. Fellow Athenians and most welcome guests, I have 3 objectives that I could potentially share with you. Why mentoring is important, number 1. Second is my personal journey and how mentoring has affected me. And third is how you, as a Toastmaster, could make the most of mentoring. Which one of these would you like to hear?
Personal story.
Number 2, personal story. Which one would you like to hear? Okay. Well, it's your very lucky day because I'm going to tell you all 3 of them. So first of all, why mentoring in Toastmaster? Mentoring in Toastmaster is important because someone here has been on the journey before you join, right? They've done the graph, they've done the hard work, and they can look back and they can support you with some of the things you need help with. That's why mentoring is important. So if you look at someone on stage and they look really confident and you're like, that's really good magic, but I could never do it. Well, you could reach out to that person and they can convert the magic into science. And you wouldn't know that until you ask that person. For example, did you know that one of the things that make me really comfortable on stage is actually wearing odd socks? Did you know that? Why did you not know that? You didn't know that because you never asked me. Now, I'm not going to tell the whole room that I'm a weirdo and I wear odd socks, right? But if you ask me as my mentee, right, what makes you comfortable, I'll tell you. And similarly, every speaker who you see on stage does something like that. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to walk up to speakers and say, what do you wear to make yourself comfortable? Doesn't sound right, okay? Now, my personal story. When I joined this club, I sat right at the back and I didn't have an end goal in mind. I didn't know what Toastmaster could do or even what public speaking was. But something happened in the first couple of days. When I joined the club, sitting at the back, I saw someone on stage who was really dressed well and spoke with a lot of confidence. And I was like, if I can just eat the same breakfast this guy eats, I could be as good as this guy. And then one day I plucked up the courage to walk up to the guy and said, would you please mind being my mentor? And he said, yes. And I was like, that's it. Now, because he said yes to being my mentor, I get to speak like him on stage, right? That's what it means. I'm just as good as he is. So next week, I come here and I'm doing the role of grammarian. I've been taking notes. I have a note in my hand. I get to the stage. I look at the audience looks back at me, and I freeze. This is my second week as becoming a member of this club, and I just couldn't say anything and couldn't get my words out. And then I'm looking at my mentor and I'm like, that's it, right? That's it. And I sit back down and I'm like, that's it. This is the end of our relationship. And he looked at me and he said, Gagan, it's okay. And I looked back at him and I said, what's okay? And then he said, it's just a role. You get another chance to do it again. And then my mentor, Paul Carroll, was really good at impromptu. So he taught me how to tackle stage fright, how to get up on stage and talk in front of the audience. And he helped me build rapport. So whenever he did something, I would ask him to break it down so I could understand it. And he encouraged me to take part in the contest. I got through the club contest. I was so happy about that. Then I went through the area contest. I was so happy about that. Finally, I joined the stage with him on division contest. He was nervous. I was happy. I wasn't happy because he was nervous, but I was happy because as I looked at him being nervous, I noticed two things. The first one was how far I'd come as a speaker because of this person's help. And the second thing was that he was just as nervous being an advanced speaker like everyone else, and he was still learning. So that's what Toastmaster in mentoring is about. And the last thing is, how do you make the most out of Toastmaster? Well, 3 easy things you can do once you're assigned a mentor. First of all, get to know what your mentor's mode of communication is. Do they prefer telephone calls? Do they prefer one-to-one meetings? Or do they want you to write a letter once a month? I've never heard the letter thing happening before, but if it does happen, it's a funny thing. Tell me about it. And second thing is, how much time commitment does your mentor have? Maybe they like to sit down once every month with you for an hour. Or maybe they just want to speak to you 5 minutes on the phone every week. Whatever that is, find out what works for your mentor so you can take the relationship further. And lastly, the third thing is there's a mentoring checklist that's on Google. There's different versions, and I'll be sending you one out with the newsletter. There's a mentoring checklist that you can use to work with your mentor to progress through Toastmaster. So when I asked everyone at the beginning of the speech, do you want to be a speaker, a leader, or you just want to socialize? Well, I might buddy 2 people up in this room as a VP of mentor. But here's the thing. Mentoring in Toastmaster is not like getting married to someone. It'd be nice if you got married to your mentor. It wasn't possible for me, he was already taken. But if that does happen, and you find someone and you don't quite get along, you have other people in the room. You can quickly switch a mentor and go with someone else. And there's nothing stopping you from reaching out all the other leaders to put their hands up and asking them one thing they like about themselves. So with that said, I wish you well with your mentoring in Toastmaster. Thank you.